Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us, and I'm really excited here today, part of the Schweike Media webinar series. My name is Matthew Sweezy, and I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 keys to the future of B2B marketing. It's something I'm very passionate about. Just a real quick on who I am. My name is Matthew Sweezy, as I mentioned. I'm an author and evangelist for Salesforce.com. Speak primarily on advanced B2B lead generation, marketing automation, future of B2B marketing primarily, write for a couple of different publications, wrote Marketing Automation for Dummies, which was published back in 2014. Let's kind of dive into this. We're going to do this in about 15 minutes, so I really want to jam-pack these minutes with as much information as I can for you. The first key to the future of B2B marketing is understanding what digital discovery really means and what that's really done to the consumer. If you really want to break it down, when a consumer uses their cell phone to do a single search on Google, they are harnessing more power than was required by NASA to land a man on the moon, right? If you can start to understand that, you can start to see kind of where the consumer is starting to move to and the behaviors that they're starting to exhibit and how we as businesses need to better relate to those new modern behaviors. So the average individual is now on digital media or in front of some type of a screen more than 12 hours a day. That was a study that came out of the UK. And really what this means for a B2B marketer is that by 2020, 80% of the entire buying cycle will be outside of the control of a salesperson. That means 80% of the entire buying cycle will be inside of marketing's control. Now, what we need to understand is we do content marketing for that, but we need to better understand how these consumers use content. Now, the reason I started off with that stat about NASA is because when you really start to understand how the internet and how the power of the internet has changed the way an individual consumes content, then you can make better content for what I call digital discovery. So here we go. What you look at on the screen is it's a graph of daily content consumption. The black dotted line is the average content that a buyer will consume on a daily basis. It's going to be flat over a very long period of time. They're going to read the same emails, same amount of blog posts, same amount of Twitter engagement, same amount of social engagement on the average day. But what happens to their content consumption is there is a stark difference when they get into what I call research mode. Research mode means they go to Google and ask a question. Now, let me ask you a survey really quickly. Do you do A or B? When you are trying to find the answer to a question and you go online to Google, do you do the following? Do you Google something, find a white paper, download it, log off and read it, go back on, go find another white paper, log off and read it, or do you do B? Go online, download a lot of white papers, and hope to one day read them. The most likely answer is B. You're going to go online because the power and the speed of the internet, you do all these things super fast and log offline. So you see these peaks and valleys. If you can understand that, then the next piece is understanding what do people want in the content. And I really break it down into the 3 types of content. People want content to escape. And here's a good example of Caterpillar, creating a giant game of Jenga, help people escape their daily lives. People want to learn with their content. And when a good example of learning is then you can then link that one article to something that's going to be deeper where people can learn how to do their jobs better. And then 3, people really want to research. They want to find the answers to questions out of content, and we most traditionally know this as the search inside of Google as how we do research. If you can understand that first key, the second key is really understanding that in the future there are unlimited marketing channels. In 1960, there were 5 marketing channels. Now there are over 70 marketing channels. And what we really need to take from this is us as a marketer now have 0 control. Social media and all of the new media that lives online can be consumers talking to other consumers without us as a business involved at all. So what this really means is how are we going to then manage that brand? And well, that'll really lead us into the third key, which is organic reach is limited. Now, what we need to understand is the way we traditionally look at pushing media out there has been an organic social model. So I'd say I build a fan base, I publish something that goes out to all my fans. The actuality is that only 2 to 4% of your fans will see anything that you post in an organic framework. So what we need to understand is if that's the case, then what does this mean? It means we need to leverage more paid social media. Paid social media is a highly engaging, proactive way for you to psychographic target people and get your message in front of people you've never had prior engagement with before. And it's allowing for targeting on super, super granular levels. right? Which also means more social media. So you combine these two things together and says, all right, if I know that I'm only going to get into 2 to 4%, now I need to then post many more times to even get into a similar range. But you can't just post the same thing. You need to have different image, different copy, all linking back to the same article, and share those across multiple different channels. This is a technique that Jay Baer calls shotgun versus rifle. So understanding the combination of paid social media and then more social media postings going to the same article but being distributed across more sites, using more copies and more images is the best way to do this. Now, this really all boils down to the fourth key. And when I talked about key number 2, that's really where the fourth key comes into play. Branding really becomes mindset. Branding, how we traditionally look at it in the media landscape, is branding is how the marketing department portrays the company. It's how the company wants to be portrayed because we can control all the places that can write about us. Going back to key number 2, it is unlimited, and no longer does branding actually work. Let me give you a great example. Kmart. Kmart did a Ship My Pants commercial, if you guys remember this. It was to drive you to Kmart.com to buy and ship things from Kmart. Here's what happened. I Googled Kmart. Here's the reviews that popped up for the local Kmart. Not that great. So I said, all right, well, let me go to the website where they actually want me to go. I go to the website. This is the actual screen I see. It is a broken website. So I said, maybe it's just this one page. I went to every page, and the ad was floating around on the page, hovering over everything, right? So it's a very bad experience for me. So what does that cause? Well, that causes volatility, right? So I have a positive impression, now a negative impression. The only way for me to have another positive impression is for them to pay to put more media in front of me, another massive multi-million-dollar creative campaign that is not scalable or sustainable, right? So we need to understand that brand is now built off of all the different experiences that happen online that we not necessarily don't have control over, and brand does not even have the ability to touch. So mindset really is the answer of how do we create positive experiences which are scalable and they're always on 24/7 and come from all departments, and that answer is mindset. Right? Creating a net positive interaction at all times should be the goal of all members of the company, and that's how we have a great brand online. It's by the mindset of the organization that everything we do is going to live online, and every interaction we have needs to be positive because they will all make it back online, whether that's an interview making it on the Glassdoor, whether that's a support ticket making it out there on Twitter on how bad it was, whether that's the product making it back onto some other review site. Everything is now inside of marketing, and it all needs to be happening by every individual from mindset. The fifth big thing is the key to customer journeys. Right, this starts off with a mindset of we've done nurturing, we have customer journey, stories. There's all different types of ideas of what we mean by customer journey. But really what I mean by customer journey is I'm going to steal a little bit off the Cookie Monster. It's cookie-based tracking. We need to understand that in the modern digital world, you have the ability to know infinitely everything about a person because of the technology that the cookies allow for. Once you then have cookies, you can then do very specific things. The cookie will give you the behaviors of an individual. Behaviors, as we all know, are the most telling thing. It is not something you can fake or lie about, right? So now that we know behaviors, we can then nurture those specific behaviors through the perfect customer journey, right? But what are those different customer journeys? So here's a set of how I break these things down. If you look on the left, these are some customer journeys that we need to move people down, and on the right are the specific types of journeys. People most commonly refer to these as nurturing campaigns. But as you notice, each one of these nurturing campaigns is a very specific problem and a goal and a very specific solution. They are highly tactical methods and methodologies. These are things that we need to understand, is that the customer journey is not a one-size-fits-all. Every customer journey for each individual needs to be dynamic based off of that digital fingerprint that we can obtain from cookies, be highly tactical and highly strategic in its execution for each specific set of problems or goals that we need to solve, and then the techniques that we use to do that are hyper-specific to the problem or the goal. It's not a one-size-fits-all for customer journeys, and the great part is that none of this was ever possible before the new set of technology arrived, but now that marketing automation exists in our world, this is all very possible, and we can now have the best customer journeys known to man. One other thing I really want to talk about on that digital experience and kind of wrapping this all together is being proactive with customer journeys. Nurturing campaigns are reactive customer journeys. Proactive customer journeys are thinking about things such as this, earn 5X rewards sidebar. Well, now there are technologies that are called account-based marketing technologies that allow us to really buy these bids in real time and say, hey, I know that this is a marketer at a Fortune 500 financial firm, and I want to target that person. I know they have done X, Y, and Z action on my website, or I know that they are likely to be a prospect, so I'm going to target them before they've ever had engagement with me with the correct ad at the correct time. I'm only buying one ad for one person in real time, and that's the concept of real-time bidding. So if you can understand that now there are technologies that allow us to have proactive customer journeys versus reactive, and you can combine those two things. Proactive helps you get in front of the correct people at the correct time, being hyper-targeted with your spend, and then the reactive then allows you to then convert those people once they've said, hey, this is interesting to me, into the perfect customer journey. So starting from a proactive, then moving to a reactive is the best way to use that digital experience to kind of bring it all together. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for learning with me with the 5 keys of B2B marketing in the future. And once again, thanks to Shweki Media for helping out and letting me be a part of this webinar team. And if you enjoyed this, please feel free to share this presentation, or if you want to continue the conversation, you can find me on Twitter at @msweezy. So once again, thank you guys and have a great day.